The voice from Åker shone. There were 2 soldiers that had deserted from their military services in Stockholm. Their names were Lars and Eric. As they headed north through the thick forests, they broke into various stables, storehouses, and even homes to grab whatever they could get. They tricked people and did whatever they could to get by, and when they arrived in Junsele, they stayed by Åkerlake. It was now time to split all their profit and stolen good. It all came down to 2 piles of money, clothes, appliances, and even some jewelry. Lars thought to himself,
"Imagine if I could have kept both piles."
And on that evening he beat his comrade to death with an axe, after which he dumped him in Åkerlake, having tied some weights to him so he would sink properly. After that, he hid their plunder and went to the village and sought out a local farmer. Lars said,
"I'd like to seek employment as farmhand at your farm."
The farmer replied,
"That you can have."
And during fall, when the darkness fell over the small village and its wide forests, horrible screams would be heard from Åkerlake every night. The voice was screaming as if someone was being murdered. The people of Mo and Bolin village would run there to see who it was that needed their help. But when they arrived at the lake, it was quiet and empty. No shouts for help or cries of despair could be heard, and no one in distress was anywhere to be found. But once everyone had returned home, the nerve-tingling screams would be back once again. Lars too heard the screams, and fear began to overwhelm him. He could neither sleep nor eat, and as he started to get thinner, his ability to work faded. When you also added the bad drinking habits that soon followed, the farmer no longer wanted the unpleasant employee in his service anymore. Eventually, Lars went to the priest, as it all became too much for him.
"I have something to confess,"
he said as the priest listened.
"I have murdered my friend, and I dumped his body in a nearby lake."
The priest and Lars went through the forest all the way to Åkerlake, where Eric's body had been dumped. And there the priest said many prayers for Eric's soul, after which the cries in the middle of the night abruptly ended. Lars was then arrested and taken to prison in Harnosand. What happened to all their loot? The tale does not tell, but hopefully no one found it to awaken yet another haunting.